Have you ever had issues with drawing the hair? There always seems to be something. Maybe the hair is too flat or too stiff. Maybe the inner details of the hair is eluding you. Or you haven't yet graduated from the spiky hair stage. If so, then in this video we'll go over some of the biggest issues beginners have with hair, from layering the bangs, the form of the hair, creating unique and varied hairstyles, fixing flat hair, and unlocking those voluminous locks. The bangs. Bangs like these are typically unique to anime. While bangs are a common hair feature in real life as well, they've become commonplace in defining the anime style. When learning how to draw the bangs in that style, remember these short tips. 1. The bangs on their own frame the upper portion of the face. Think of the face as the main focus. Around it, the picture frame. The top is the bangs, the bottom is the jawline, and the sides here, those are the side bangs. 2. Always remember where the hair grows from. It might seem simple, but it's actually what creates most of the flow in the hair. Not only where the line starts, but where it ends matters too. Lines always move with intent of going somewhere. Where is it? Where did it come from? Those are the questions you should always be asking yourself. 3. Draw the hair off the head a bit. There's a reason why anime hair always looks so poofy. It's actually based in real life. Gravity affects the hair, like this, moving in a downwards motion only after it grows for a little bit. Variation in hair. This is a bit of a creative tip, and as such its effectiveness varies from person to person. Take it with a grain of salt. Variation. One common issue with hair is uniformity. Hair is wild. Think about it in the morning when your hair won't agree with you, and you'll know what I mean. We can barely control hair in real life, let alone trying to do it while drawing. We should see this as a feature, and that, at least with hair, imbalance is the new balance. Get a few spikes to move against the motion of the hair, a straight tuft, or a rebellious frizzy streak. Keep this in the realm of reality though, and remember where the hair grows from. Fixing flat hair and adding volume. The biggest issue with most beginner artists is that their hair looks very rigid. This is solved in two different ways. First, breaking up the uniformity helps a lot. This means sending hair in different directions, just like this. Or just starting to add in a lot more flow into your lines. A flow line is simply a natural line. It's a line that has a lot of natural line weight in it. If you use a pen like this, which has a lot of size control with your pen pressure, what you're going to find is that you can control the weight of any line that you draw very, very easily. Now we're taught to draw our lines with purpose, draw our lines exactly where we want to go, control them, stop them whenever we want to, have full control over them. Like we mentioned before, hair isn't exactly something that is easy to control. And as a result, it actually looks a lot more natural when it's a little bit wild. My strategy here for the hair is almost always to create the main structure of it first. What I'm doing here is I'm going to simply just be drawing the side bangs. And then after I'm done drawing the side bangs here, I'm going to add a little bit of extra stuff on top of it. But the thing is, every single time I go to draw this, every single time I come down to this, it's going to look slightly different. If I do completely different reiterations on the same hair, I'm going to always get these little accents here, right at the ends, completely different. And the reason why is just like you can't get your hair to sit completely the exact same for 2 pictures in a row, your creativity is never going to work quite exactly the same. Let's talk about volume and balance. One of the biggest things here about hair is that we measure it in terms of volume. How poofy the hair is constitutes its volume. We're going to notice here that if we create ourselves the construction where the head is supposed to be, we're actually going to notice that the hair sits off the top of it. This is pretty normal. Typically speaking, what's supposed to happen is when the hair grows out of the head, Alright, let's just say that this is our scalp right here. What happens is the hair grows out first and then dips down due to gravity afterwards, due to the weight. As a result right here, all the hair is fluffing outwards. Now this effect can be enhanced by blow drying or hairspray or realistically anything that we can do to the hair. So if the hair is styled, one thing that we can actually note is that we're always going to be getting a decent amount of space in between the head and the side of the hair. What we can also do with this is we can end up creating a couple more flares, a couple more twirls, and a couple more curls. When we want to end up adding a lot of those extra hairs and effects into the piece, one of the things that we have to think about is the overall volume. Making sure that the volume of the hair here is shrinking as it goes along. This is because that if hair is free flowing off of the head, hair is going to constantly be ending as it goes along, and there's no growth here along the path to help it. In other words, it gets thinner the more it goes along, and we just have to make sure that our strand of hair reflects that, and that will add in a dash of realism into it. One of the biggest problems that beginners have is balancing variation. So we started to realize that we need to add a little bit of randomness into the tips of our hair. But when we do it, it still just doesn't look right. The most common issue is the crab claw, creating hair out of nowhere. So the issue with the crab claw here is similar to a crab's claw. The base where the hair splits is very large. It's very wide, it's very voluminous, compared to the arm where the hair is actually coming from, which is very, very thin. We'll notice it right here that this volume is coming out of nowhere. As artists, we're allowed to be as creative as we want, but it doesn't mean that we can just create something out of nothing. Everything still needs to be believable, otherwise it breaks the illusion. And so we need to always respect volume. We can do this one of two ways. We can increase the size of the base, or we can decrease the size of the crab claw. By doing either one of these, it lowers the volume in the problem area or increases the flow. Make sure that these parts have realistic flow instead by adding gaps to them.